Imagine waking up in the year 1555 with a vision so terrifying, so detailed, that you have no choice but to hide it in a complex web of codes. Michel de Nostradamus was not a magician. He was a physician, an astrologer, a man desperately trapped between two entirely different worlds. While the Black Death consumed Europe, leaving cities rotting in silence, he saw something even darker. He saw centuries ahead. He looked into a vacuum of time and watched our modern world crumble. His first quatrains were never just poems. They were a heavy, dangerous, forbidden map of human collapse. He lived in a time when a wrong word meant the executioner's fire. The church was watching. The inquisitors were listening. Yet, he stayed up late into the cold night, spilling dark ink onto fresh parchment. Why did he risk his life to write these terrifying lines? Why did he leave a legacy of fear? Because the silence inside his mind was louder than the screams of the future. He could hear the wars. He could hear the falling of massive structures before they were even built. He felt the burning weight of absolute, unalterable knowledge. A regular mortal mind would break under this pressure. He chose to become a ghost in his own era, a shadow whispering to generations yet unborn. He wrote in a chaotic mixture of French, Italian, and Greek to shield his family from the wrath of kings. But the words were alive. They survived the damp archives of history, waiting for the exact moment we would open them. They were waiting for us. This is the starting point of a journey into an invisible mind, a mind that refused to stay silent while history marched toward its dark destiny. A golden cage, a pierced eye, a powerful king laughing at his own funeral. When Nostradamus warned King Henry II about a splintered lance in a mock battle, the royal court called him a crazy old fool. They thought a simple scholar could never understand the absolute protection of a crown. But history does not care about royal titles. History does not bow down to empires. In this segment, we peel back the dusty layers of his most brutal and horrifyingly accurate prophecy. The year was 1559. A grand celebration turned into a chaotic bloodbath in a matter of seconds. A young count's lance shattered against the king's golden helmet. A sharp, jagged splinter of wood pierced the royal visor, entering the king's eye and driving straight into his brain. Henry II spent 10 agonizing days dying in a bed of silk while his kingdom panicked. This was the exact moment the world realized a terrifying truth. Nostradamus was not guessing. He was not throwing random words into the wind, hoping they would land. He was watching a movie that had not premiered yet. And the ending of that movie was entirely covered in blood. The laughter of the court died instantly, replaced by a cold, primitive fear of the old man from Salon de Provence. Queen Catherine de' Medici herself summoned him to Paris, desperate to know the fate of her children. The skeptic world suddenly found itself looking into a mirror of absolute inevitability. You can call it a coincidence, or you can call it logic. But when you read the exact words written years before the tournament, the hair on your arms will stand up. He saw the armor. He saw the youth conquering the old age on the field of combat. He saw the final double wound. The trap of time had snapped shut, exactly as predicted. Night after night, completely alone in his cold attic, Nostradamus stared into a simple bronze bowl. No crystal balls, no tarot cards, no cheap theater tricks. Just still, clear water and a human mind pushed far beyond its legal limits. This was his famous instrument, the leaking mirror. He described a state of trance so deep it felt like drowning in time itself. He would sit in total darkness, illuminated only by a single candle, waiting for the water to speak. The surface would begin to ripple without a single breath of wind. The room would grow freezing cold. Then, the visions would flood his mind like a breaking dam. He saw the great fire of London consuming wood and stone. He saw the terrifying rise of 20th century dictators with small mustaches and iron wills. He watched the catastrophic fall of ancient global empires as flickering, ghostly images on the water's dark surface. He was the lonely architect of a dark legacy, sitting in the middle of the night, building a bridge to a tomorrow we are only now starting to live. This ritual was not an act of joy. It was a painful, exhausting labor. He claimed that a divine spark would occasionally descend upon his head, lighting up the dark corners of the future. He saw the invention of flying machines, the split of the atom, and the oceans turning red with the blood of soldiers. He watched the world change its clothes over and over again, while he remained trapped in his medieval room. He recorded these fluid memories into stone-cold text, creating riddles for us to solve centuries later. It was a silent conversation between a lonely man in the dark and a modern world lost in the light. Now, we enter the long shadows of our own time. Modern researchers are frantic, desperately decoding what Nostradamus called the Great Drought and the Celestial Fire. This is not ancient history anymore. This is our reality. Is it just climate change? Or is it something far more cosmic, far more dangerous? He explicitly spoke of a dark decade where the great ones fall overnight and the oceans literally begin to boil. Look at the headlines on your screens today. Look at the trembling political structures, the sudden weather anomalies, the growing anxiety of global civilization. Are we the exact generation he spent his entire life trying to warn? The ink on his pages is centuries old, dry and faded, but the warnings feel like they were written this morning. He predicted a massive shock waves in the year 2026, a shift in human consciousness, or a physical destruction from the sky. He wrote about fire from the heavens hitting great cities, and leaders vanishing into thin air. The scholars who laughed at his texts 10 years ago are now quietly rereading the chapters on global destabilization. We are living inside his timeline right now, watching the dominoes fall exactly where he said they would. The stability we take for granted is nothing but a thin layer of ice over a deep ocean of chaos. Nostradamus looked through the water in his bowl and saw our concrete cities. He saw our satellites. He saw our digital networks, and he called them a web of illusions before they even existed. The countdown he started in the 16th century is reaching its final tense seconds. Can we break the code of destiny, or are we just actors following a script that was written long ago? Nostradamus didn't leave these terrifying warnings to scare us into submission. He left them as an alarm clock for a sleeping planet, a hidden strategy to survive the coming storm. He wanted us to look at the patterns of history and change our direction before it is too late. As we close the heavy, dusty books of his long life, one ultimate question remains in the dark. Are his prophecies a brutal trap we can't escape, or are they the only key to our modern survival? The future is a dark, complex puzzle, and we are the very last pieces on the board. The choices we make in the shadow of these warnings will define the next 1,000 years. If the path is already set in stone, then why did he bother to write it down? He believed in human will. He believed that knowledge is the only shield against doom. Join fading shadows, and let's find the absolute truth together before the cosmic clock runs out of time. The dry ink of history is waiting for your answer in the comments below. Don't look away from the mirror. Don't ignore the ticking of the gears. The past has already spoken, and the future is listening to our every breath.